Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
Oh, you know what? What episode are we on? I forgot.
Oh, good thing we didn't say anything.
Yeah, good thing. Good thing I don't know how to start an episode. Is it? I think it's 13?
I think it's is it 14?
That's why. No, it's 13.
I was going to say, I thought it was 13.
It is 13.
Oh, just
I would have
13,
remembered 13 because that's the unlucky. Well, welcome to our unlucky 13th episode of the Giant Enemy Crab podcast, your home for gaming news. I'm your host, Fliz, and I'm joined by Kyler, Tsun, and Strider. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
How's your day been? I didn't get an answer to how your day's been.
I've been pretty good.
Oh, good. How was your escape room yesterday?
It was honestly way more impressive than I thought it would be. Because
that's a game, right? Do that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so an escape room, which I'm sure we at least know what it is pretty much you go to somewhere, they take you into a room, and it's like themed in some way. And it's a puzzle game where you and a group of friends just try to like figure out how to do the objective and escape. And go ahead.
Are there rules like don't break our shit?
Yeah, there are rules. And
okay.
The common ones being that if you have something that like you try to move it and it doesn't move, that is not part of the puzzle. Do not try to forcibly move it. Anything that is part of the puzzle, you can just pick up very easily.
It's pretty universal across all the escape rooms I've seen or have been to.
Yeah, the one we did was like it's supposed to be a heist where we're breaking into a mansion. We had to find like this person's secret art gallery with a diamond in it, and we started in like a foyer area, and then we find some clues. We figure out how to open like some safe and find a keypad and do all sorts of stuff. And ends up what we had to do was pull some books in a specific order, and the bookshelf opened to reveal the vault room, which was pretty dope. And we go in there, and it's like this art gallery, and in the very center of it is this glass case with the lasers like pointing down around it, and then this inside of that is the diamond on like a purple pillow, super fancy, and it was really cool, but it was like way too hard. Like we tried to do it without any hints, and we ended up having like 10 minutes left, and we just like asked for hints over and over. I think only 3 or 4 times at the end. But it was hard. But it was really cool though. Like the paintings that were on the walls, we didn't even notice. They're actually buttons. Like you can press the paintings in, and at one point you had to press them in a certain order, a certain amount of times, and it would deactivate one of the lasers and stuff. It was pretty sick. I enjoyed it.
I want to do one. It reminds me of playing like Resident Evil or something and doing those stupid little survival horror puzzles that are fun, except for that one game we played on stream where the puzzles didn't actually make any sense, and you looked them up and you're like, these don't make sense still, but here's the answer.
Yeah, no, these they're pretty good. I definitely recommend them if you have one near you. You have to like drive like a little bit. They're usually pretty good. I'm always worried about whether they're going to be hard enough. And this one we were able to do with literally 39 seconds to spare. Like we just barely did it.
Yeah, the ones I've been to have all been like pretty sufficiently like difficult challenge-wise. I think the last one I went to, we didn't actually even we were on the final clue, and the issue was we just solved it wrong. We were on the right path, we just took the wrong clues.
Oh.
And it was like, just as it ran out, the guy came in, he's like, you guys were so close.
Yeah, it's a fun time though.
You're so close.
No, he was very enthusiastic.
He's in the room watching you. So close.
No, he's just he was like a really enthusiastic like worker there. He was a nice guy. He was just like, no, he's like, dude, you guys were so close. Like, all you had to do, like, you just misunderstood how to solve it, and then he showed us, and we're like, oh, god damn it, like,
so close.
Yeah.
Strider, I know how your day was, and we'll get to that. Because we were having some fun we're going to talk about Deadlock once we get through a little bit of news.
Oh, are you guys making out in Deadlock?
That's the topic of with arrows and bullets.
Oh my God.
It was delicious and very
Snipers!
Very fun. Yeah. How was your day, Tsun?
Busy.
Nice.
Very tired.
Oh, Well, in that case, I'll let you go first. What you got for us today?
I don't have any big news, really.
That's fine.
I do.
I'll take
I do have a fun one that I guess it's related. So like, one of the top ones I found was Borderlands is no longer the biggest box office flop of the year.
Ooh, what beat Borderlands?
The Crow reboot.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
It made less than $5 million in its opening weekend, and it didn't cost as much to make, but like still.
I don't know who was clamoring for more Crow
I don't know.
content. Like it was pushed, like the edginess was pushing it back when that came out.
Yeah,
like,
wasn't that like the original wasn't not received well in the first place anyways?
I don't know. I just know that Brandon Lee died during shooting, so
yeah, that was like his
notorious.
His like what final movie, obviously because of that.
Yes.
But
no, soon he made a couple sequels.
That's why I said obviously.
You know, they strung him up on some puppet strings, walked him out there.
You know what?
Brandon.
I'm surprised
Caw-caw!
there hasn't been a controversy like that. Like,
well, I wouldn't expect The Crow to make any money, but
no, it's starring
I
Bill
also didn't expect
Skarsgård.
Borderlands to be so bad. Yeah,
I don't.
Isn't that Pennywise?
Oh yeah, it is.
Pennywise.
I was trying to remember
That's
what else I've seen him as. Yeah, he was the reboot Pennywise, right?
Yeah,
Which I didn't think he actually did. I think he did a pretty good job.
he did a great job. Everybody loved those movies.
He had the weird tooth thing he does. Like,
And his weird eye thing.
yeah, he can make his
weird
eyes
face
go
thing that he
backwards,
does.
go two different directions.
His whole weird body thing that he does.
Apparently, I think I saw an interview. That was part of the reason why they hired him for that role, is he could do like the really weird like expressions.
Yeah, I can see that being a necessary thing. I'm surprised Borderlands did. Hopefully it means nothing for Borderlands 4. I saw some showing off some info or not gameplay, I guess images, but I couldn't be asked. I just.
Are you talking about like what people have kind of taken from the trailer, kind of like broken down?
Yeah, nobody really liked the trailer.
I see. I personally didn't mind it. I was reading like a breakdown on certain things. It's all speculation, like from the flashing images and stuff. It's such like a sparse and cryptic trailer. We don't, no one really knows what the hell's going on there yet.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of surprised that it's getting so much hate, because there's not really much to it. It's more an announcement. Hey, here's Borderlands 4.
I feel like the gaming community is way too quick to hate on things nowadays.
I think it's more of a vocal minority than anything else, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
still, I am surprised of all the things. The latest Borderlands trailer got such a negative reception from
I
the
was just
sounds of
hyped
it.
to see that it was happening, man. Like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's an announcement at the end of the day. Like, hey, here's what we're working on. Now, it could just be because, they've done announcements before. Like, we're still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. They announced that a long time ago.
Has anybody heard anything more on that?
No, I haven't. That's not coming for years,
I will say,
probably.
Speaking of like announcements, though, there was another thing I had that was pretty neat. Is that CD Projekt Red? They announced that they're starting Witcher 4 production any moment now.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
I
guess
do enjoy The Witcher.
I think if I read correctly, it's the beginning of a new trilogy in the series. So I don't know, if that means are we moving on from playing as Geralt and playing as someone new, or?
We might. I wonder just what type of game it's going to be. Is it going to be like the open world like they did for 3?
I feel like,
or is it going to be
I
more
feel like
of a
that worked
linear
really.
thing?
I feel like that worked really well from them, didn't it?
People liked Witcher 3 a lot.
Yeah, I like Witcher 3.
Popularized it. To be honest,
Like Witcher 3 is fantastic. Yeah, I didn't really see too much. Like, there's not too much else here on it. Just that, use some numbers and everything else, and it's ready to move. Well, it's just numbers on how many people are on the project out of this and all that. And yeah, like
did they just start? Like, are they announcing that it's out, or are they saying they're just starting working on it?
They're like moving to prepare to work. Like, it's confirmed they're making it, but yeah, they're moving to start production.
So we got like 6 years.
Yeah. No,
6 years
again, it was just like interesting that it was even a mention. Like, oh, cool. Like, we get a confirmation at least.
Yeah, I guess. The problem, like, with how tech is moving right now, it's going to be interesting how that development of that game goes. I feel like they're going to get really close to it, and then they got to switch engines.
Like, Claire, you said tech, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. For some reason, I misheard you as tax, and I was like, what?
No, just with like all the latest AI tech and everything, it's really difficult to kind of make games right now, because we've seen it over and over again, just with games having to constantly switch engines, or they're trying to incorporate new technology because it keeps coming out so quick. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think like people spend 5-10 years on a game when that's like the lifespan of a console itself. You know? By the time you're done, you got to redo everything.
Yep.
I think it's part of like with like why CD Projekt Red, some of their stuff has a rough time, is because their games are so huge and they take so long. Because they're also like, pretty heavy on a tech level, that then, the next tech comes out and they're going to be like, God damn it. Now we got to adapt for this too. And that's why things get all screwy.
Well, in the future, like if this next Witcher game is really good, you could have another like GTA 5 situation, because that game was so successful that they released it multiple times. Like just on the latest generations, didn't change the game, just ported it over, said, here, have it again. Have it another time.
Just like Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim was the same way.
Is GTA successful, or is it GTA Online? Like, is that the successful part?
They're both.
At this point, GTA Online probably is the more successful, even though GTA 5, like its base game itself I enjoyed it quite a bit, but GTA Online was definitely like their money maker after everybody experienced the story.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's how they continued to make money after people bought the game, but
it still gets content.
Yeah.
Like often.
Some of their content's kind of crazy. It's just releasing like vehicle packs they have to spend money for to get, or not even spend money to get the equipment itself. It's spend money to get virtual money to buy the things in the game.
Cards like that.
Yeah, it's gross, but people do it. So that's just how it goes.
That's what people choose to do, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me one way or the other. I just don't care for cops and robbers like everybody else does.
True.
Mr. Jacob, what you got for us today?
Apparently, Gearbox is being slammed because they released their first Risk of Rain 2 expansion, because they are now the owners of it, and
nice.
It's dog shit.
I was gonna say I saw the that it was like mixed to not great reviews on Steam. I wondered if it was like a quality or something like that. So it's just bad.
Yep. They fucked up. Regional pricing is one of the big issues. If you don't own the expansion, the game is now broke. There is significant issues like crashing and similar reports for non-expansion users. And they tied the physics to the refresh rate. So if you play higher than 60 FPS, the game becomes extremely unbalanced.
Yeah. I love it when when the game is connected to the frame rate.
Yeah, wasn't that something you were just talking about last week?
Yeah.
Lionel?
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps happening. It's crazy to me.
Why is that a thing at all? That seems crazy.
From what I understand, it's probably a pretty simple way to do it. Just doesn't have the greatest results.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it, considering this is like the third time we've heard of it happening recently. Not great.
Because I definitely think it's one of those things where it's easier to do that than go out of your ways to untie physics from refresh rate.
I mean,
maybe, but
if it doesn't work and everybody hates it,
it's also weird. So. It's also weird that they did it on a game that's already released. Like, I don't know why they decided to do it.
Well,
couldn't tell you. So
I don't play that game.
So Gearbox, they bought Risk of Rain 2, or did they buy the devs for it?
I'm not 100% certain on which one it is.
Because aren't they remaking Risk of Rain 1, the first one?
They've already released it. It's been out for 3 months to 6 months. Yeah, Risk of Rain Returns.
That's what I thought. So why are they releasing DLC for Risk of Rain 2? That's kind of weird. That feels strange.
I can understand that just because of how different Risk of Rain 1 and 2 play.
Oh, is it different? I never played either of them, so I don't know. It's
the
just
2 games are completely different.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like, to me, I feel like if Risk of Rain 1 came out that recently, like, why wouldn't you make your DLC for that? But if they're that different, or if Risk of Rain 2 just has a larger player base, then I suppose, then you might as well. But it sounds like it was a bit of a flop if they're getting that stuff mixed up and wrong.
Yeah, you guys were bigger fans of that than I definitely was. I only had one serious playthrough of Risk of Rain, and I was not enjoying it by the end.
I honestly preferred the playstyle of 2 over 1. I don't know. I'm not big on like the side scroller type. I like the 3D more.
Oh, one of them was side scroller?
Yeah, the
I didn't
first
even
one.
know that. Oh.
Yeah, you wanna
Yeah, that sounds bad.
you wanna give it a breakdown, Miller?
Risk of Rain 1 was a 2D side scroller. All 2 moved to a 3D environment. They have the same type of play style in terms of like how the game works, where you collect boxes with the currency you earn, pick up items, find the teleporter at each stage, charge it by either time or killing the boss, and move on to the next stage. Like, the transition from 1 to 2 was definitely one of the best I've seen of a game moving from a 2D to 3D environment. It's pretty much my quintessential example of how to do it well.
What did the DLC introduce to it then?
I am not too certain. I haven't checked up on exactly what it had, because I didn't really play the first DLC that came out for Risk of Rain 2. I think I technically own it,
Gotcha.
but I never got around to playing it.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of a coincidence, because that's not the only game that had sort of a similar issue. The new Star Wars is it Outlaws? Wow.
Outlaw, yeah. Outlaws.
They had a major problem because that released where if you had bought like the gold edition, the $100 one to get early access to the game, they released an update where apparently it was released on the official day that it came out, and it wiped your save data.
Oh no!
If you were in early access, so it completely reset your game.
I saw things mentioned like, yeah, people gotta redo their saves, but I didn't know that was the cause of it.
Yeah, kind of a big
That's
problem.
crazy.
And their fix for it was they gave everyone like 500 currency on for premium currency or whatever, which is like $5.
It's a feature, man. You get to play more of the game that you got. You get to redo your whole adventure. Imagine if you could start all over.
Yeah.
How would life be?
Dude.
Here you go.
Hey man,
That's crazy to me.
Dragon's Dogma 2 didn't launch with a new game option. Like,
Yeah,
they had to update that.
I don't know what's happening. So we have games that, day one patches break save files. We're forgetting to tie frame rate and all this other stuff. And multiple games have done that recently now, Risk of Rain 2 being one of them, which is weird because it's been out for so long. And like the whole game is just, mounting garbage on garbage. Like I don't understand it. I don't know what's happening.
Must just be cheaper and easier to release. Nobody's happy with it. So, I mean, but apparently it works well. Like, this trend has been going on for years now of releasing stuff that just doesn't work and then dealing with the repercussions later. So it must be more profitable, right? Like, rather than please people to just keep releasing trash.
Fuck it, we'll patch it
Well,
live.
it's all market windows, right? Just
Yeah.
throw it in there between releases of all the big sharks or whatever you want to call it.
It's also like trying to get it out usually in specific quarters.
Yeah.
Accounting purposes, which is, I think, for example, why Dragon's Dogma 2 released partly in the state it did and when it did. Because it was like the end of that quarter. They were trying to get
you get good numbers to show off, get to show them off to investors, get more money. Yeah, increases your stocks. Tons of It's gross. It's all compared to just how much money can we make in the stock market versus how much money are the games making. And
Yeah.
it's really all just to impress investors and to make actual good games. Just big oof.
All right. In addition to that, there was also the fact that according to an IGN article, on a slightly different note, Concord, apparently there's an estimate for how much it's actually sold.
Oh no.
That's my favorite game. I love that game.
Hey, man,
let's see.
It
Let's
makes me
hear it.
smile every time I think about it.
It's estimated to have sold only 25,000 copies.
And that means that there's 24,000 people who aren't even playing it. That's fucking terrible.
It's like down to under 200 players right now on Steam, I believe. And on PlayStation 5, on August 26th, it was rated about the 150th most played game for that day.
Oh,
it is
Dude.
plummeted off a rock.
Honestly, I think it costs more money to make that cinematic than how much money they made selling the game.
Sounds like a mad flop. There's going to be story. We're going to see hour-long YouTube videos pretty quick here about what happened with Concord.
How Concord fell.
What do you mean fell? It never got anywhere high enough to fall over.
It never took off.
How much does Concord cost? Is it like $60?
It's 40.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I thought it was 60.
It's only $40. So the reason that article stated was probably the reason on why it failed is terrible marketing. Because no one knew it was coming up, when it was releasing. Yep. High price point for its genre as a hero shooter, which is it's $40, which very few games are nowadays. Most have transitioned to a free to play, and there's just an oversaturated market of hero shooters. And definitely one of the biggest complaints I see from people is that the character designs are uninspired and forgettable. They were the most
I remember
generic.
We talked about that in the last podcast. Yeah, you said uninspired. I was like, yep, that's the thing. Because those look like nothing. I don't know what they were going for, but they didn't hit it.
Dude, 25,000 copies at $40 is like $1 million. $1 million is how much is how much money that they sold or made from selling the game. And Steam alone takes a third of that. Right?
Gabe wins again.
Dude. Steam alone takes a third of that. Then, the publisher also makes a cut as well whenever you publish games.
Advertise this is a super negative game we're talking about.
Yeah. That's insane. Who made it? Who's the developer? Do we know? Or
I can't remember the developer. I believe it's published by Sony, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Published by Sony, developer Firewalk Studios.
Oh, that poor studio. They sound like an indie studio. Have they done anything else?
See, games developed, just Concord.
Just Concord. Oh,
Concord.
my
That list
God.
is not going to expand. They are done.
Oh, no.
It's not even their fault. The game cannot be this bad.
No.
Nobody's really... It doesn't seem like anybody really hates the game itself.
No one knows about it.
No one knows about it. No one wants to pay for it, and nobody likes how it looks.
Yeah. Dang. That's such a shame. That is a huge flop. I think that's worse than the Borderlands movie, to be honest with you.
Probably.
No, don't worry. They're gonna come back with that Love, Death, and Robots thing. Concord's got their ticket
secret level.
I can see it.
Double the player base.
Concord's in there, right? Isn't it?
It's one of the 50 episodes. On another note, for a very similar story of another studio that's in a rough spot. So the video game Visions of Mana released the other day. And on the same day it released, the developer was shut down.
Oh, okay.
Oka Studios was shut down the same day the game was released. They have a very small skeleton crew right now. It's for downscaling purposes. For Netties, I believe. But according to a Bloomberg article, they shut the game down the same day it released, and it's on a skeleton crew to basically finish the final games and updates and things before closing the studio for good.
Damn.
Well,
That is becoming such a habit. I think if this keeps happening, if it keeps getting worse, I think what we're gonna end up seeing is like just developers making like games that are just kind of like cardboard cutouts. They look great from the front, just that they can show like their boss, and then like when it comes out, it's just absolutely terrible. Which you're already seeing signs of it, I think, is what is happening right now. That's probably why we keep getting games that just don't fucking work anymore. And it's because the devs like know at this point, once their game comes out, there's like a 50-50 shot that they just get fired.
Oh no.
You know?
Yeah, it's
like why?
Game's a flop, you're fired, you know. You know what? It's Baldur's Gate 3. After that came out, all the developers or all the businesses, they like colluded together. They're like, we got to bring it down. We got to bring the bar way down, make everything a half work.
Bar too high.
And then we can come back up again.
Bar too high.
If we make all the games really bad, we can release like a decent game and everyone will think it'll be really good.
Decap everyone's expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of Baldur's Gate 3, the publishing director stated that due to the rising cost of video game development, they think the game should definitely cost more at the base level. Which, I don't know about that, because you keep increasing game prices like this and game costs, like, there's not going to be many studios that can survive even a single flop at this rate.
I read that article that wasn't, you're talking about like what's his name? Is it Douse? Or something like that? Because you're talking about the Baldur's Gate 3 guy.
Yeah, the publishing director.
He used like, I think he used like an example, speaking of, it's like Star Wars Outlaw again, where the premium edition was like cheaper than he thought it should have been, depending on the amount of stuff people got. I don't know. Reading all that was like a strange thing, because it was like, I want game devs to, you know, get their due, but if games get more and more expensive, people won't be able to afford them as much.
Well, here's the argument behind it, right? But behind kind of how games need to cost more is because the price of games has not changed almost ever in like 40 years. Like even way back, like on the SNES, the games then were still selling for like $60. So when you compare it for like inflation wise, it doesn't make sense for games to be the same price. But the reason why they can remain the same price, because the amount of people that actually play games is so much higher than it was back then. So they can sell so many more copies at the same price point and still make profit.
Not to mention microtransactions and DLC.
Yeah. And now it's gotten to the point where you don't even have to sell the game anymore. You can give it out for free and you can make your money off of microtransactions now. An example of this, and this is something I heard from Pirate Software Thor, was that all of StarCraft 2 actually made less money than a single mount from World of Warcraft. Just one mount, $20 mount in the store. Made less money than all of StarCraft 2.
That's crazy.
So there is an argument for games being like too cheap at like $60 some when, you know, Grand Theft Auto 5 costs $600 million to make, and then the product is $60 and you can play that thing for a decade. Yeah, that's pretty insane. That's some insane value there. So it makes sense, but I think it's an argument that will never be won, because the amount of content you can get out of a game is so superficial. You still have people playing Super Mario Sunshine, and will do it for 8 hours a day every day.
You pointing some fingers here?
No, it's just an example. Like, you know, we have.
No, it's just an ironic example.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. Is like games now, they hold as much. I shouldn't say now, just in general, they have as much value as people perceive them as.
Yeah.
So arguing a price point just doesn't make any sense. It's just from a business standpoint, however it will sell whether the base game or the microtransactions, there's no winning argument for how much a game should cost.
Yeah, it feels like a weird balancing act, kind of.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
I wish Steam had its own version of what's the Microsoft thing where you can just pay like $15 a month and play whatever you want. Game Pass. That would be dope.
Oh,
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that would be insane, actually. If they did that, dude, forget any other game store. No other game store would ever exist.
Aren't they?
That's a $1 trillion idea right there. Game Pass on Steam.
Yeah, but aren't they already facing flack for monopolization?
For being way too powerful for doing only the right thing every time.
Yeah. They do it. They do it again.
Middleman to boot.
If they do it again, they're gonna get in trouble.
Dude, even if it was just like indie games, like just a bunch of indie games, like that would be insane.
It just sounds like a licensing nightmare.
Imagine you make like a really good platform and everything's going great and like you're making all the right decisions and then they're like, we're suing you. It's like, what?
You're too good of a platform. Oh man.
Everyone else is just doing worse.
Get that guy.
Well, it's funny because Game Pass isn't really like, I mean, I guess financially it probably is doing worse, but it's fine. Like I've never had a problem with it. I think the service itself is like $15 a month. That's totally fair.
No,
I don't have other stuff.
I like those services quite a bit actually, because like, you know, if I like a game on like a Game Pass, there's a chance I'm gonna go buy the full thing. If like,
why?
Because if I don't want to use Game Pass anymore and I want to support the devs.
They get support. Okay.
I mean,
they get support from having their game on Game Pass. Microsoft pays them a licensing fee.
Hell, the devs probably actually don't get paid, to be honest with you. It's all the publisher. No. I mean, like,
then they got paid before.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like they still make a salary. I think the most that devs get paid is like there's a bonus depending on how like a staff bonus that the company gets depending on how well the game does. But I don't think that's
conditional though. Like not everyone does that.
No, I doubt it. I would highly doubt it.
All right, where were we? Was that your last thing, Jacob?
I've got a few other things real quick. Hideaki Itsuno left Capcom at the end of August.
Who is that? He sounds familiar.
He is the head. He is the person responsible for, amongst a handful of other things, most notable Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma.
That's what I thought.
He left Capcom. I think yesterday, actually. On the
awesome, actually.
Now, what's he gonna do now? Is he gonna become like Kojima and become all powerful?
He's moving somewhere to work on something, but from what I couldn't figure out what it was. The like Twitter post that he announced that I believe wasn't saying too much. And he's got something in the pipeline. I just don't know what it is.
I want him to go work on his own stuff and just kind of pull a Kojima and just
so I'm saying, man, he's powerful.
Yeah. I want him to do some cool things because I love Devil May Cry and I love Dragon's Dogma. I just want him to like actually be able to work on his own things because it always feels like, especially Dragon's Dogma 2, where just something always felt like it went wrong somewhere. I can't help but think it's Capcom trying to do something.
I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 is Capcom's fault. No, because it repeats the exact same mistakes, like fundamentally game design wise, the same problems one had. Like I just think that's the type of game he wanted to make, and definitely has some serious problems. But
all right, we'll see though. We'll see how it goes.
Because it definitely felt like Dragon's Dogma 1 remake, very with everything kind of jumbled up, but it's still the same pieces.
All right, and then there was some history made actually earlier this week too. Well, last week now, but. Yeah, we had the largest DDoS attack ever recorded. Yeah.
And what were they? A Minecraft attack.
A Minecraft server suffered the largest DDoS attack ever recorded.
Dude.
Yeah.
Which is kind of all things weird. Like I feel like Minecraft, dude. I feel like it's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah,
I know it's still actively played, but
Well, it's just weird because, well, it's weird to me because this is coming from Games Radar, and they said that a Minecraft server called Mine Men Club was the target.
Mine Men.
And just to put into perspective, like the previous, I believe, I could be wrong about this. The article doesn't go into this. This is just from what I remember. That the largest like attack before was like on Google, right? Like, okay, that's pretty crazy. And this attack was literally over 3 times as large as the attack on Google.
I wonder what made them so mad. They're like, "Fuck you, Minecraft."
Yeah.
Do you think they just wanted to do it for the sake of seeing if they could do it?
Someone stole someone's diamonds or something. I don't know what happened, but my God.
It's like when you get threatened in the COD, I'll DDoS you if you do this, and it actually happens, and it's the worst DDoSing in history.
Behold my power.
Really pissed that guy off.
I guess so. That's crazy to me that happens. And I think what's kind of more insane is I believe they were able to stop it, which is pretty insane because we've had like issues with other games and companies before. Like Blizzard has suffered like major DDoS attacks will be gone for like 2 days because their servers are just getting destroyed. And the fact that they were able to stop a DDoS of that size on a Minecraft server is like, what is happening in the world now?
When they say stop, like they didn't have any downtime, like they were actually able to prevent it completely.
Yeah, they were actually able to thwart the attack.
Damn.
Like, I didn't realize how much stock we put into Minecraft servers that they're this prepared to handle attacks of that size. But yeah, we have a new big boy record on our hands.
Of all the places, of all the fucking games that have like that level of server security, Minecraft.
Hey man, people got to mine. They got to mine their blocks.
Minecraft.
Right?
Well, it's so popular. I mean, regardless of whether it's a kid's game or not, you still got to treat it like it's the moneymaker that it is.
True. It's more an idea of just like there's so many Minecraft servers. So the fact that like just some server I've never heard of has that kind of protection backing it up. Just
it's
to
also
make sure.
the idea. Like, I mean, well, we don't seek out Minecraft related things, but like just the idea that there is a Minecraft server that none of us have heard of that is that big.
Yeah, it's
and like,
crazy.
Yeah.
But Fliz, did you have anything?
Do I have anything? No. All right. One thing that's fun for me. You remember my rating for Dawntrail?
I do.
What was it?
I don't remember.
Not low enough.
Why you fucking lie to me?
I just remember it was.
All right,
I just remember the caveat of it being narrow-minded.
I remember it was low.
It was low,
very low,
and you did include that was coming from a narrow-minded view.
Okay. Well, it's not so narrow-minded apparently, because it is reached mostly negative on Steam.
Oh,
everybody is mad at this game.
Oh man,
it's not even anything new. It is legit all this stuff we talked about: the story being lame, the characters being lame, everything feeling pointless. It people are not happy with what they got, and I think I just felt like I felt vindicated. I felt verified.
Validated almost.
Validated. That's what I'm thinking.
You're like, I'm not out of touch.
I'm not completely out of touch. This is not a good DLC or what's the word I'm thinking of?
Expansion.
It's not a good continuation. Yeah, expansion. It was just not there.
Yeah, because I definitely feel that sometimes where I'm like, are my views just that different? Because I've definitely had things like, that was great. Oh, the community thinks it's dog shit. Oh no. Like that happens to me quite a bit. Either I'm like that. Usually it's, I thought that was good. Oh, people hate this. Or like, that wasn't terrible. Or I have never played worse garbage in my life. And I always have to check myself. I'm like, my opinion probably doesn't matter too much because I clearly am not critical enough of what I consume.
Well, I remember seeing a graph of like all the Metacritic scores of every expansion, and Dawntrail is like by far the lowest. But it wasn't bad. It was just the lowest out of all of them.
because it was like
So
Yeah, I posted that.
what, low 80s, high 70s, which is like
it was high. It was in the 70s. Yeah, it was like high 70s.
78,
I think it was
79.
79,
Yeah.
It was,
So
which
for
is still
Steam,
not bad, but
no, it's not. And then for Steam's reviews now to be in like the negatives, that's like, oh, that's
To
pretty
be
rough.
fair, to be 100% clear, it has gone from over. Jacob is my proof. He saw it. It was at negative, but now it's back to mixed. So people are coming to its rescue, even though I don't think it deserves it.
They're trying to white knight Dawntrail.
Thumbs down, Wooklamot. That's the entire review.
Man,
I thought that was funny. What were you saying, Jacob?
the other thing you have to remember about Steam reviews is it's literally a binary yes/no of do you recommend
Yeah.
just like it's not do you think this is good? It's do you recommend this to people?
that's why they need a middle option.
I think the
I mean,
the
it balances
recommended.
it out fine.
I think it's fine. Like if they just overcomplicate it, then it's just.
I mean,
it just
yeah.
gets weird.
because you're either going to recommend it or you're not going to recommend it. There's no like real middle.
And I
I get this game.
I agree. Just because like it's so hard to sell someone on Final Fantasy 14. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
And Dawntrail did nothing to make it easier. Did it make it harder? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. But it definitely was not a great expansion.
No, and I've read like plenty of reviews. I've gone to plenty of Reddit threads just to see what people are defending, and even the people who are like it still are like, I don't know, Wooklamot's rough. I understand that. It's like, yeah, she was. But that's not even news. That was just something funny. That was a continuation. The other piece of news I got from Forbes is that GameStop, which should be shutting down, has decided to turn into retro GameStop.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So GameStop is basically going to outfit itself to be nicer. They posted in a tweet, we're becoming retro GameStop.
What does that
They're
mean?
going to be selling they're going to be selling more older consoles,
Okay.
older games. But I saw immediately, like the next day, I saw a post of somebody going, I went to go check out Retro GameStop, and it's got like 2 Nintendo 64 games and a bunch of empty, a bunch of empty slots for stuff that's never gonna fill. I think GameStop's done. I think it had its moment in the spotlight where we all went diamond hands and lost a little bit of money.
I used to go to
well-
GameStops all the time, and then I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I can just buy shit digitally, and it's easier.
That's,
I used to call people on the phone. I don't do that anymore.
I used to do that too.
That's actually funny that you say that. This is because we went to that escape room earlier last week, and while we were going there, we decided to hit up a bunch of game stores on the way because like we were looking for either like games, old games, like Dungeons and Dragons stuff. You know, we stopped by like literally about 10 or 11 game stores.
How do they all survive in one area?
We passed through like 3 cities on the way to do this. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say because I have them out here, but they shut down
Yeah.
like every once and like they pop up and they shut down like 2 months later.
oh no, these have been
Makes
up
me
for like a
sad.
long time. But we spent like
Okay.
4 hours doing this. We passed by 3 GameStops and we never went inside of any of them because we're like,
Why
that's just a
would you?
GameStop. Like, no, I'm not gonna waste my time going to a GameStop. Because like they don't have like pretty much anything that they sell. Like I would just buy on Steam or just on like the online store or whatever. They don't really sell much of anything. And all like the other stores, I shouldn't even say the names because it doesn't matter. But like they would sell anything hardware wise would be like controllers would be cheaper than GameStop would sell them anyways.
Yeah.
And they'd be like more interesting things. And they'd have like really cool stuff that they would sell. I saw this PlayStation 3 that was in one of them. I don't know what kind it is, but whatever it was, it must have been expensive because it cost $1,600.
Damn, that must have been like a collector type deal.
And it was really cool to see. I was like, that's fucking wild. I didn't even know that something like it existed.
it was a
so
PS4 or 3.
It was PlayStation 3. Yeah, it was
Ooh, it's
PlayStation
got
3.
PT and Flappy Bird.
Dude. Like, I don't know.
$1,600, loser.
I don't know why it was worth so much, but it's really cool to go into those stores and just kind of see like some of the retro consoles and just find stuff you didn't even know like were a thing that even existed is like
Yep.
such just a great reason to go into them. And then usually you'll find one or two things to buy. And you just grab stuff. They'll be selling like random stuff, either like miniatures. There's one that just sold like Lego sets just randomly that are really cool. And yeah, so I could definitely see why I guess GameStop would try to transition to that, but I think they probably would have been better just shutting down. Like,
Yeah, it's a bit too late.
Take the money and run. I'm surprised they didn't just do that.
Next time you go, you got to pick me up a Tomb Raider memory card. If you can find one, I'll pay you, what did we say, $30 for it.
I'll look for one. I'll see if I can find one.
You'll know it when you see
The
it.
bounty's out.
The bounty's out.
I did see a PlayStation 1 mini, like in box still in the box for sale. It was like $80.
Ooh.
I was kind of tempted to get it.
Is it the size of a disc?
Almost, yeah. Like it's actually only a little bit bigger than the disc. I owned one. I still have it somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But it's really small.
Sorry, I
It's
just
mini, would you say?
Yeah.
I looked at the Tomb Raider memory card. Yeah, no, you'll recognize that.
Dude, it's a thing of legend. Tomb Raider
It
Legend,
is.
the memory card.
It is fantastically janky.
It is. All those memory cards were, but they were so great. It's why you always wanted one.
Well, unless anybody has anything else we need to get to, I think it's, are we ready for our main subject of the night?
There was one other thing that might be fun.
Okay,
What is
let's
it?
go.
Blue Protocol being discontinued in Japan on January 18th. They were never getting it.
Yeah, I saw that.
They
That,
were
is,
always-
that,
talked about that.
that has to do with the studio shut like being bankrupt, right?
I believe.
Is-
Bandai Namco Online. Yeah, I remember you said we talked about it. They shut down.
Yeah.
And Blue Protocol was one of the victims.
The victims.
That's-
I mean,
yeah,
they are like,
pretty much
obviously
is.
they're dead.
Yeah, they're gone.
Amazon Games is a curse. They were going to publish it, and now the game is no longer going to exist after
It's okay, man. They still got New World.
4
Well,
months.
they're shutting down the whole game from what I understand, right?
They're cutting the cord halfway into January.
And I remember reading, I forget where I read this from. I feel bad. Is that they're apparently every month they're giving like currency to all the current players in Japan right now, so they can spend it on stuff in the store.
Oh no!
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're shutting it down like by the end of this year.
At least
We'll never have it, Lionel. I'm sorry.
I know.
At least it lasted longer than Gundam Evolution, I think.
I think.
Yeah,
it
but like,
did.
imagine, like, you can invest time in a Gundam Evolution, that's fine. But like, imagine investing your time in a game that like your character matter. Final Fantasy, you play hours, and then one day they're just like, nah. Like that would be devastating to some people.
Yeah.
But if they paid attention to this podcast, they would have known that it was a futile cause to spend time in Blue Protocol.
It's clearly their fault.
Fuck them.
Let's
Moving on.
blame the players of Blue Protocol.
The
Yep.
real victims.
Yeah, those victims deserve it.
Oh no, bro!
That's awful.
Okay. Concord sucks because you got to pay $40. What doesn't suck and is free is Deadlock. Well,
Ay.
I can't say it sucks. I have problems, but we've all got our hands on it this month. And we've all been kind of, at least I know Strider and I have been kind of addicted. I've been turning it on every chance I get. I've been enjoying a lot of my time with it. Well, how are we all feeling about it so far?
That game makes me mad. I'm so fucking tilted when I play that game.
I like it. Fuck the snipers and fuck solo laning. That's all I'll say.
I am actually very impressed with it. It like I've thought about how a 3D MOBA would go, because the only one we ever played that kind of got it was Predecessor, and that had its own problems, and also its
That's
characters
right.
weren't.
The 3D
Smite,
mode.
yeah, Smite as well. We
No,
didn't
as
play
a-
that. We didn't play Conquest.
That had like a shooter elements to it almost.
Oh,
Smite
yeah, okay.
Smite isn't really quite there.
If you play Hunters, it is. But
Yeah.
it's fine. You never really played that game, so it counts.
Well, Predecessor felt like it was going to be like a shooter, but it did that range thing. I don't know why I ever felt it. I didn't feel it with Smite. It's probably because I only played Arena, which isn't really
Mhm.
like the MOBA mode. I never actually played it, so that's why I compared to predecessor.
I mean,
And the
excuse me.
them combining how it's like a third person shooter and a MOBA, it does really well, especially how they've changed kind of how CS works in the game, and it's more of a Dota style. I really enjoy, but I know you guys have different feelings about it.
Are you talking about denying the stupid soul thing?
I love CSing, especially lane CSing. It is definitely one of my favorite aspects. But it's very rough, depending on because the soul orb denying mechanic definitely feels very latency based. Where if there's too big of a discrepancy between you and your opponent, it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, I've felt that. No, I totally agree. There's definitely been many games, especially recently after this last update. There's been many games we have where I'm actively focused on, hey, I'm gonna try denying just to get the hang of it, and the shit disappears before I even I fire and my bullets go through it, and then it disappears and says deny.
That's exactly what I like. One of the issues I have is I definitely saw my bullets hit it, and then it said denied, but
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say I can't really say yes or no because I haven't had any issues with it. From what I felt so far, it's pretty much if it gets denied, like I could tell that I just missed it. I think today I had like a couple issues just last hitting a minion because like my bullets went through it. But other than that, I haven't had any problems, but it sounds like it probably is an issue.
It's definitely been way more like noticeable these past few days.
It feels janky.
I didn't notice as much when we first started, but I think it's either due to this update or just the increasing amount of players. Because I think the Deadlock's doubled its concurrent users in like 5 days. And it's continuing to climb. It's like 150,000 plus. That the servers are getting a little laggy because I've noticed a little bit of jumping around today. Especially
I had it happen the other night. It felt very strange. It was the only time I think I've had rubber banding in the game. But it was like you could feel it. It was pretty bad.
I don't know. It feels like such a good game. Like all the problems that are in the game, I feel like are not like major issues. They're things that have definite either fixes or like iterations of fixes that you could totally try. Like even the whole CS thing. Just allow a grace period where only the team, like the same team, can shoot it. And then if they don't get that time period and it keeps floating up, then the enemy team can deny it. And that can kind of help with like latency and also just make it a bit easier to CS as well. Like there's so many things that they can do. The game is just so like solid at where it's at that I can't find any like major problems beyond just balance. Balance is like the only major problem in the game, which they can fix, but it's
certain
very skewed. Yeah, it's not even close. Like I think 7 has like a 60% win rate, and you have other characters that are down like the 40s. Like it's really bad. And that just takes time, just because there's so many different items and builds that you could do. And also there's so many new players as well that you kind of have to wait for the game to kind of fix itself before you can start throwing changes in right away. But other than that, I've really been loving it a lot.
It is very fun.
I think there's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. I appreciate a lot of the stuff that it's doing. I like the look of it. I like the noir situation. The characters are distinctive from each other, which I did not find with predecessor.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like I don't know, maybe it's the cartoony vibe it has a little bit compared to predecessors, like realism and gross nipples and whatever's going on with that game and some of the characters.
Lionel loves his nipples.
The what you're talking about, the CS denial, that's been an issue for me. One of the things I love is you kind of, and I know it's just because it's an alpha or beta or whatever, so it's going to change a lot, hopefully. But I like that you just get into a game instead of playing League where it takes fucking 15 minutes just to start a game that might not even go through all the way.
Oh yeah.
It's much less of a commitment. As far as what you guys were talking about balance, there are some issues, and maybe I'm just bad, but it doesn't feel that way when 4 games in a row I can't do anything in lane, because a big problem I'm having is the duration of some of the abilities of characters. Like the snipers will jump up in the air and sit there for like 10 straight seconds,
they
just
float
nailing
for
you.
a long
They just
time.
fly. And like the Seven's exploding ult ability, that just goes forever until somebody stops it.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that like why is this such a problem? Because I'm playing top lane in League, I'm like, okay, I have melee versus ranged characters, and that we work around that. You stay out of their range, or you stay in hidden, or you do this and you just CS under tower, and you can't really do that in this game. If you try to the range for snipers, there is no range. They just hit you. No matter how far back you are, if you try to CS, they can deny it from any distance. And if you're playing a character, like the matchups are weird, because if I'm playing a character that mostly supports, I'll get thrown into a solo lane versus a sniper, and I can't even get, like, the character has no verticality, which is a huge part of the game. I have no range and no verticality. I can never do anything to my laning opponent, ever. And so that can be really frustrating. I guess the meta will eventually play out differently, and you'll be able to call for ganks or, the kind of things you would need in a League game. But for now, it's just, I want to play. And we did play all morning, and every game was horrible, and I still kind of enjoyed myself. So that says a lot. I don't think I've seen Jacob get so mad at a multiplayer game in a long time. He went quiet on me, and I said, oh no.
Oh my
no.
God. Dude, we faced like snipers like in 12 consecutive games as our laning opponents, and we're close range characters.
It is
Like,
obnoxious.
Even when I asked somebody, I said, hey, switch with my guy so we can lane together so you can get away from the sniper. They're like, oh yeah, good idea. And they swapped. And then the sniper on the other team swapped to our lane, and we got fucked anyway.
Like I've been leaving lane 1-8, 1-9. But with that, like, because one of my fundamental issues with how the game works is some abilities are super oppressive, specifically during laning, but there's nothing you can do because you can't build the items yet that counter those characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Which just means if you have the wrong matchup right now going into the lane, like shotgunners or close range characters like me and Fliz like to play versus any of the snipers or goo person, we get pummeled.
I love my goo guy.
They actually just nerfed Viscous
No,
like today. Like he
What'd
got
they do to
like
him?
5
He
or
does
6.
so
They
much
got like
damage.
5 or 6 changes. They're all nerfs.
Aw. Where are these notes?
I don't hate
I need to
that.
see.
I don't hate that. I really enjoy it for what it is, though, and I there's a ton of potential there, and everybody's on it. Like, it's already got a huge following. I do kind of like the item system. I wish some of the things weren't as obtuse as they are. Like the some of the stuff you just have to play to learn, and it's not that, maybe it's just me. It's probably just me, but like, I don't know. Like seeing the I don't really know what's going on with the end boss. You got to destroy the 2 shields, and then you can shoot him, and then he dies, and then you have to do it again.
Yep.
I'm usually just go in there and everybody's beating each other up for the last 10 minutes of the game in somebody's spawn, which is fun. Until everybody has all their CC that they get, and then
unfun.
it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff's just some of the abilities just take the fun out of the situation, or completely fuck your teammates. But I guess that's every MOBA, and that's every game, so that's fine.
Yeah, the thing for me about the game, so far seems to be, and this is what separates it from a traditional MOBA, is the weapons and the guns, where some of the guns are just clearly way better than others. And it just makes certain phases of the game just atrocious to play through. Like when you have characters that can just run up and shoot you in the face with their shotgun, and you take an insane amount of damage just from that, and they don't have any items. There's not really much you can do against them after that. It just completely ruins like your entire laning phase. And with the way that there's no way to heal unless you go all the way back and then come all the way back to lane. But I also think it's more just like we need to play the game more, and I just don't understand like how the game should be played yet. Because there's still so many things like I don't touch at all or don't try yet. Like when I should start interacting with the jungle camps or looking for like the little buffs that happen or trying to gank other lanes. Like I just haven't tried it. So and even the strategy of just abandoning the lane and literally just going around just ganking the other ones and just getting like a ton of kills that way. Like I haven't tried that either. Because at the end of the day, the towers that are in the game, like the little guardians, they don't really do much. The first ones, like they have the shop at the front, but they all eventually die because they're just that weak. Like eventually, after like 10 minutes, you totally get to the point where you can just solo one. You don't even need minions anymore.
Yeah, I was reading that generally speaking, like 10 minutes, you should be out of your lane.
Yeah.
And doing other things.
Yeah, easily. Because the tower can't even hurt you really anymore at that point. So there are like still so many strategies I haven't tried yet that kind of critiquing the laning phase is very difficult for me because I feel like I haven't tried enough or don't know enough yet. Where it's very obvious that some characters are way stronger or weaker than others. Like the character you play, Fliz, I could immediately tell that character is not... He has like a role, but he struggles to achieve it because he doesn't really end up doing anything.
I need other people.
Yeah.
And we're not at the point where other people are ready.
You can just walk
even
past
when we're
him.
in the same chat.
Yeah. You can just walk past him. He doesn't do anything. He's just digging around at the speed of sound.
Well, if you're squishy and I build right, you can get blown up, right? But if you're playing against him and I'm by myself, I need to stop doing that. Because I die a lot just going like, I can probably get this guy. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for what it is and how this weird strategy that they have of releasing the game, it's like super popular as well. I think it's going to like evolve very quick. And I think it's... From how they're updating it, I think they're really going to go hard and make this kind of like a big deal.
They should. I mean, you have Dota, you have TF2, like Valve is printing money.
Yeah. Man, this is actually going to be kind of hype, I think.
Right?
What would you want like changed or added to the game? Like number one, like what would your first thing be?
One thing that I saw, this isn't, they were experimenting with hero-based matchmaking, and in the Discord, the guy just posted like that shit is not working. Like over the past couple days, which is why things have seemed very hard. Apparently, they've been messing around with hero-based matchmaking, and it doesn't work, as admitted by them. Okay. It's not a good function. So everybody was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Certain things that I think need to be... I think there needs to be a duo queue where I get to lane with my person. I don't want to lane with a random if I can help it. Or if I have a character that is not meant to solo lane, don't put me in a solo lane. Make me play a whole different character if you're going to do it the way you're doing it. Other than that, just more polish, which it's obviously going to get. I'm sure you guys have other things that you think you'd like added, but for now, like I'm still like you were saying, I'm still figuring stuff out. So I don't even know if my opinions are totally valid. Some things I've said seem to gel with opinions across the board, where people have these issues with laning and certain characters, but they still like the game. Like it's hard not to like the game. It's just fun. Even when you're dying, most of the time you can still do something. It's fun.
Yep.
What I would want, and I guess see if you guys agree with me, is I want them to change some of the other objectives. I'm not a fan of the soul earn mechanic.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad mechanic.
What are your
the
problems
reason
with it?
why?
Okay.
There's a couple. It's very difficult to actually stop someone from delivering the earn because you can't interrupt it at all. Once they're in there, they just kind of instantly get it. It's very quick. Second, it's only a good objective when the two teams are balanced, as in like it is a true tug of war. When it is like one team is clearly winning, it just makes them stronger because you can't stop them. You're not going to be able to. You're not strong enough to stop them. in most cases, unless they misplay something. So they just get free more souls, like just for free. You know what I mean?
What if you couldn't actually place the urn if somebody was on the opposite team was within a certain radius of the, you know what I'm saying? Like
make
you
it
could
like an actual
hold it off.
fight. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they need to
if I'm
change.
over here with a
Contestable.
tank, you
Contestable.
can't use it.
Yeah, something needs to change with it because I really don't mesh with it at all. All it really does is it just makes it so a winning team can win harder, or the team that communicates or knows about the mechanic at all can actually try and fight for it. Because half the time, like, I feel like most people don't even know that the urn is a thing. So they're just like off doing something else, and like everyone else is fighting, trying to stop or deliver the urn. It just feels like it's a mechanic that's very easy to miss, and it doesn't. I'd want to replace with something else.
Yeah, it's
would be more
definitely nowhere
interesting.
near as iconic as Dragon or Baron or something.
Oh, yeah.
Or Rift, you know.
I mean,
that
like-
stuff's way more
Yeah.
noticeable.
Maybe at least we have mid boss, but
I don't like that either. That feels gross.
What's your problems with
Yeah.
the boss?
It, you know, it never seems to work out. It, like, unless you're already stomping, and maybe that's part of why the matchmaking has been kind of weird, because our games have never felt, over the past 2 days, have they felt like close games? That was fun. No, it was either stomp or we get stomped.
I had one really
never-
good game last night where I got fucked in lane, but still managed to have a good game coming back, which felt really nice. And that game was pretty fun. But there's definitely an issue with matchmaking because the matchmaking basically gives itself like 2 seconds. Because I definitely feel like they're trying to get specific information right now.
Oh yeah, I would assume.
So, like there's like the matchmaker is biased. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself, just based on the amount of snipers I've been fighting as my laning opponent. Like they are my laning opponent 7 out of 10 times, and there's only two characters out of what 20 something. It feels a little
Is there really
biased
20 characters?
yeah, there's a handful.
because I think 23. I think something like that. Maybe 21.
Yeah, now that you point the numbers out, it does seem a little crazy that we're against snipers every single round.
They're never on our team either.
It's either that
No.
or that's just a testament to how strong they are currently.
They are the weakest characters overall.
They don't win games, but laning is like
Yeah,
anti-fun.
It's there's no engagement with them in laning phase. You just get bullied and then you just walk away, fucking crippled, and then come back and beat them down like 15 minutes later once you have some farm. Because they have the 2 lowest win rates in the game. Both of them do.
Okay. Yeah, you wonder why you see so many then.
I think I might just be biased on mid boss because we're still playing with a lot of like the last mid boss we had was a terrible call, and I knew it going in there. I'm surprised nobody else knew it, but we just got wiped out, and it wasn't even like we were losing. Like if you're losing, you can't fight for it.
Yeah.
You just have to try to yoink it.
Yeah,
I managed to do that once.
Maybe it needs more comeback mechanics. I don't know.
I think I literally said I think I now know the reason why League has the bounty system is is because to stop the one that has 10k more souls on the enemy team, and you only get the same amount for killing him.
I think there
even
is
though
one.
he can wipe your entire team. There might be, to be honest. I
Because-
haven't been paying attention, but I totally see like why.
There was a kill today where I basically doubled my value off 1 kill. Off of one person who had like 5 or 6 kills at the time. It was early game. They gave me like 1.6k off of a single kill early, like about the 10-12 minute mark. So I think there is one. Because I shot up to like I cut the gap between me and my opponent and that person to like 800 souls. It was like 2.5k before.
Oh, and actually, the one thing I do want them to work on, like as soon as they can, is definitely a compendium of how the mechanics work.
Yes.
Because my God, your first few games, you have no idea what's happening.
Yep.
You just you also just remind me of something that I wish they would add is I want the ability to browse builds in the main menu before I go into a game. So I'm not having to do it in game.
Another thing I would add
I mean, you could always go to the
is a term glossary to explain exactly how things work. Like the difference between immobilize, exactly what immobilizing, stun, silence, sleeping, and like all of these terms do. Because I still don't know exactly what. Like, for example, silent or sleeping doesn't stop channeled abilities once it wears off. Like, it stops it for the duration, and then they go back to what they were doing.
Which is dumb. And no games do that, except this one, apparently. And I never would have known had I not knocked somebody out of sleep and they immediately killed most of my team because they were still ulting.
Yeah, because it's classified as a soft CC, so it doesn't stop abilities like that.
That is weird. That is like the first game I've ever had, like, seen like sleep being considered a soft CC. Normally that's like a hard, and it cancels everything.
Yeah, because you're immobile and you're not doing any actions. That's a hard CC if I ever heard of
Who
one.
has sleep besides Haze?
I think just Haze.
Just Haze.
Because if Haze actually like hard stopped abilities, if that was a hard CC, it would be so annoying.
Yeah.
It would be the first time we've seen it in a game, though.
So maybe they just need to change it from sleep to something else, because that's very unpleasant.
Like inhibited or something.
Probably silence, right? Silence would do it.
That'd be
Silence
fine.
is a different thing. Silence already exists. I don't know what exactly the difference is, but it also exists.
I think you can't use abilities.
You can't use abilities, but you're not stopped from moving, I think is the big one.
I think it stops your movement abilities specifically, like your movement-based abilities. But there's definitely been quite a few times where I bought an item thinking it would stop such and such or save me from such and such. And it's like, no, that's the other list of abilities. You got to buy this item over here and use it in a different point, and it's got a cooldown that's weird.
You gotta pay more for the DLC.
Something like that. I don't know.
I think Deadlock is going to be very successful, especially like with how much support it has behind it. Like they're already working on like 6+ characters still, like right now.
Yep.
And then the amount of updates the game goes through is insane. Like every day.
The updates are crazy.
Yeah, every day, sometimes multiple times a day. They're pushing through updates. So I think it's going to be super successful. It's really fun. Clearly, because there's so many people playing it, and you can't even like just download and play it. You have to get someone who's already playing it to invite you to play it.
I got
which
you
is
guys.
so weird, but it's still successful.
I got you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Also,
but, no, I think it's really great. I hope they continue doing really well too.
You know, another thing that I like, even though I don't benefit from this because I personally don't do it, is that like it's very easy to communicate with the devs, from what I understand, with their Discord.
Yeah, you can just go in the Discord.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because it seems very vocal in there about talking.
Is that where all those posts from the Yoshi guy come from?
Yoshi is the lead dev. Yep. That is Ice Frog.
I didn't know that was Ice Frog. Okay, cool. That's great.
Yep. Yes, because this is lead dev is same guy behind Dota's too.
Yeah, Ice Frog was one of the original Dota creators, and then the head for Dota 2, I think it was. And then,
how do you guys feel? How do you feel about the parry mechanic specifically?
I haven't had to really use it yet.
It's fine. Probably, I need to play more because if it's successful, the payout is insane. It is a death sentence.
Yeah.
It is a high risk, high reward. I don't even know if it's high risk. I'd say medium risk, high reward.
Yeah, I think you're right because you're not going to get parried back. And a lot of times you're just mad, like you're locked in a little room with a couple people punching and you're just mashing parry, hoping. 1v1 it's much easier, but there's definitely been a lot of you were getting your shots blocked by people who were trying to parry me.
It's 360. He was fighting you. I came in for charged heavy, and he parried me from behind. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because he either was trying to parry you, or he heard the charge sound effect and pressed it.
He was trying to parry me.
If
100, I was definitely just rock'em sock'em robots in there.
there's two tiny things I would want to change about parry is like, I think the first one is just because of server latency, but the actual time there in parry seems a little long, like kind of random.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like half a second wait, charge heavy, and it'll hit. Sometimes I'll get parried. The other thing I would do is add a slight delay before someone can start moving after a parry. Like if it's there, extend it a little bit further. Because it's
Just to make it cost more.
yeah, because it's like parry and then they're gone. They're just gone because they immediately dodge. It's because of that like weird thing where like because of the point one where the like how long they're in it is a little weird. So sometimes it feels like I tried to punish it correctly, but like it kind of went on for longer than it felt it should have because of latency. So I definitely think maybe like slowing, like or just like slow for half a second once you parry. Because there's,
I do think it's a little weird. Go for it.
because there is already the 5 second 5 second recast time before you can parry again because they actually just buffed it recently. But it's just if you do succeed at it, just whoever you parried is probably dead, especially early.
Yeah. Yeah. It just feels weird that there's like a mechanic to me. I don't mind it really, but it does feel a little strange that there's a mechanic that is kind of hard bound into your kit that you may not even have to use for an entire game. That just feels a little, it's like, you know, having Flash in League and never using Flash. It's like, why even?
I don't think I've had to use parry like actively like once. I don't think I've actually had to do it.
If you play like a ranged character, you almost never have to. It's mostly just for melee bruisers.
Just you guys. Well, I think it's that a lot of times too. You guys are always playing like the bruisers, so we don't really come up against them. So.
Yep.
Maybe.
We had a slugfest earlier, where a boxing match in one of our games, which is the one where I got parried from behind.
I'll take that over snipers.
Absolutely.
I'm done with the snipers so much.
Dude.
It's such an unfun first 10 minutes.
Snipers in games, they're always a pain in the ass.
Well, you know, at least in Overwatch, you know, I just got sniped right out of spawn first 2 minutes into the game. You know, this character's not going to work here. I got to swap to Winston. Or like, that's the thing. In this one, you just can't do anything. And, you know, I know it's not the same kind of game, but I really find myself struggling for like can I at least have some item that blocks one shot over 200 damage? You know, something that's just like, even if it's like a Banshee's Veil or something earlier on, because you can't do it. It's frustrating. And there's no shields really. So you're just stuck. But I'm griping about something that I've been glued to. Like overall, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm more interested in playing this than I have been in League, which is
Deadlock is
rough
fun, man.
to say for League. I even want to play it by myself, which I never want to do with League.
You were for a bit there.
So yeah, but then I realized I'm too old to ever have enough time to get good at League. So I just play it for fun now.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? Are we done talking about Deadlock?
I think that's about it.
I think we tapped out.
All right. This one's gonna be a doozy.
I just no other company other than Valve can have a fucking game with 150,000 or 150,000 people playing it and with zero monetization right now.
I had that thought actually the other day, thinking about it now, where I was like, if it didn't have Valve attached to it, do you think it would be anywhere near as successful?
Yeah, I do.
Down the road, maybe?
Because like it like it's a great game so far. I mean, obviously early development still, but like I feel like just having the Valve tagged onto it helps it a lot too, with like publicity. Because
it doesn't not help. I mean, it obviously helps. Like people were much quicker to latch onto it, but I think the game itself stands out on its own apart from Valve. Like we've tried a couple of these other ones like Predecessor, and it's just not there. that's lacking in many areas. And this one kind of feels, even in an alpha, it feels pretty complete.
It's the bones are solid, very solid right now. There just needs to be more.
Lots of potential.
You want bones to be solid. No frail bones. Frail bone bad.
I think that's it today.
Yep.
Are we good? You guys got all your news out of the way?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We're tired. We're all beat. We're a day late and $1 short. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please hit us up on giantenemycrabpot@gmail.com. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for doing this today. And I guess we'll be back next week with some more Black Myth Wukong.
Woo,
No, I'm just playing.
my favorite.
Doing that.
We're going to do it every week.
Every week from now on and forever. One piece of Black Myth Wukong news.
Till everyone's finished.
Until Tsun finishes, we'll do an update every week. All right. Well, bye.
One.
Bye.
Bye.